face the perfect guy. PG-13.
I mean, come on. Come on. Come on. Like, No Good Deed at least had somewhat of a little bit of a creative idea to it. This is pretty pathetic right here. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. It is the 14th anniversary of September 11th in 2015. Here's your biggest movie of the weekend, The Perfect Guy, aka the most generic, by-the-numbers, psychological thriller we have ever done in the history of everything. Because, yeah, you've seen this shit done before, and like I said before, like, if it not had the company like Screen Gems behind it, this thing would have been on, like, Lifetime or BET, but because this is the same company that put out No Good Deed and can market these movies to a specific audience and they'll come out and see it, of course, it went on to become a gigantic hit. Stop me if you've heard this plot before, because it's so incredibly refreshingly new and has never been done before in the history of film. It centers around a single woman played by Sanaa Lathan who falls in love with a man who harbors an obsession after she breaks up with him, played by Michael Ealy. And, of course, Morris Chestnut is playing the other guy in here. So, yeah, it's Fatal Attraction. It's Obsessed. It's all these psychological thrillers where, you know, it's a three-way triangle between a couple and somebody who wants to get in the way. And, yeah. I mean, do I really need to say anything more about this movie? You can tell everything that's going to happen in this movie, from the way it begins, to the way it ends, to the twist that happens. There's no thrill in this movie whatsoever. The only thing this movie has holding it together are the stars. And these are good actors. But that's the problem here. They're good actors. Two of them are actually the producers on this movie, Ealy and Lathan, and you expect them to be in so much better than this. Like, there's so many other better movies they could be starring in. Not stuff like this. Like, it's like with last year with Taraji P. Henson and Idris Elba in No Good Deed. We know these people can act. Give them a movie to act in. Give them something that actually is worthy of their talents. Don't give them the same old generic crap over and over again. Because, I mean, this isn't the end of these type of movies, but then again, this is Screen Gems. Screen Gems is, of course, the company that will take whatever they can get from what Sony and what Columbia and TriStar don't want and say, here, guys, have this here. It's the most generic-ass script we've ever had to make, so go ahead and take that and see what you can do with it. Maybe you'll make some money off of it. And, of course, like I said, they did, but it just doesn't work, man. Not only do you have these three wasted here, you got a cast that also includes people like Charles S. Dutton, Tess Harper, Catherine Morris, Rutina Wesley from True Blood, Holt Mulcahy, you know, John Getz. I mean, there's so many good people in this movie, and it's just really just like, I mean, come on, man. Like, this is pathetic. This is lazy. Like I said, No Good Deed at least had somewhat of a creative idea to it. You know, you take in this guy that you don't think is anything that is, you know, it's a guy that says, you know, I just need to borrow a phone, and then you realize that he's actually a criminal. That's something that actually could make for a good movie, even though it didn't really do that last year. But at least that one was trying. I mean, it's bad. You know how bad this is? This makes The Boy Next Door earlier in the year look better by comparison, and PG-13. So you're not going to get anything. To titillate the guys out there. You know, like, if you want to see Sanaa Lathan naked, there's no point. There's no point, because she's not going to do that. Just like, I don't know, man. I mean, it's a bad movie. It's a bad movie. But I mean, would you really expect anything better from a company like this? I think what really bugs me the most is that there was a far better thriller that came out this same weekend, and because the numbers were so neck and neck at the box office, it came in at 2 by just a little bit over a couple of $100,000. Let me see if I got it right here. $400,000 between this and our next movie, which is the far superior movie. It's M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit.
Would you mind getting inside the oven to clean it?
Visit, rated PG-13.
Oh, no. I know your tricks. You're not going to trick me into... I've seen those videos online where the girl's just like, oh, stepbrother, I'm stuck inside of my dryer, help me. It's just like, how do you get stuck inside of a dryer? Honestly, but, yeah, I think you get the idea here. But, anyway, stupid joke right there. Let's talk about this really good movie, because, hey, M. Night Shyamalan is back, baby, after... God, almost 15 years since he made a really damn good movie. The Visit. You have two young siblings played by Olivia DeJonge and Ed Oxenbould, who are staying with their estranged grandparents. During their stay, the siblings notice their grandparents behaving bizarrely, and they set out to find the truth behind the strange circumstances at the farmstead. Catherine Hahn plays their mother in here, and yeah, man, this movie really is one of the biggest surprises I think we all seen in a long, long time, because, M. Night Shyamalan, he started off as a great director. He directed The Sixth Sense, which was great. Unbreakable was great. And then came that trend of really lackluster movies. I hated Signs. I hated The Village, Lady in the Water, The Happening. The worst movie I've ever seen one of my worst movies I've ever seen is The Last Airbender. After Earth. He was also behind Devil. I mean, at this point when this movie was coming out, it was just kind of like, what's the point anymore of getting excited for this guy? Because it's clear he's lost his way. He's lost his touch. But apparently, a guy like Jason Blum is the perfect guy to come in here and say, here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and make this on a very, very small budget. You can film this within 30 days, go back to your roots, and then, we'll see what happens from there. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened on this movie. I mean, it's amazing to think about with this film in general here, because really think about it. This guy was an Academy Award-nominated director for his first film, The Sixth Sense, and in 15 years since this movie's come out, his career took such a nosedive that every studio passed on the rough cut on this movie, that they, Shyamalan thought he was going to lose a lot of the money he had invested on this movie, even though it was $5 million. I mean, $5 million is still $5 million, man, but, Blumhouse basically came on in and said, hey, we're a company that can do so much with little to no money, so, yeah, we'll go ahead and take it. We'll see what happens with it. And then just like that, this movie becomes an unexpected hit. It's a critical success. It becomes so successful that Shyamalan's name gets back on track again. It's funny because for a number of years after this movie came out, he actually held a list of the Hollywood executives who refused to distribute The Visit and said that by 2018, most of them had lost their jobs. So there's much more fascinating stuff going on behind the scenes of this than you can possibly imagine. And, hey, it's a really damn good movie. It's not one of his best movies, but you know what? It's a return to what makes M. Night Shyamalan work as well as he does. I mean, it's not him going extremely over the top. It's not him going extremely pretentious when he needs to. I mean, this is a movie where he's taking it back down. He's going back to what made the first two films of his so good, and it's turning into a really good movie. This is a tense-filled movie where, they do a good job of keeping the suspense levels going forward, and you think by watching the trailer, you get a sense that something may be wrong with the grandparents, but then there's a pivotal moment in the movie where even even the mother realizes that, something is off here, and and the twist overall is a return to form. It's an M. Night Shyamalan twist that feels refreshing. It doesn't feel like it's forcing it down your throat and expecting you to just go along with it. Like, it's an incredible movie, man. It's a really impressive film that just works on so many levels, and it's tension-filled, it's scary, it knows exactly what it's doing. I mean, it's a movie where it is just so well done, so put together, and for M. Night Shyamalan, he desperately needed something to get back on track here, and after 15 years of lackluster films, the last great one being Unbreakable in 2000, I mean, here he is again, back in full force, and he has not missed a beat for the most part since then. I mean, now, granted, some of his movies have not been that great. Like, the film he produced for his daughter to direct, The Watchers, was not that great. Trap was a silly but fun movie, a stupid but fun movie in a way. The Split and Glass are good movies. Old is a fun, over-the-top movie. Knock at the Cabin is a fun film overall. Since this movie, he's gone back to making entertaining films. He's not given these extreme budgets or creative control to do whatever he wants and just talk about how pretentious he is and all that, and how snobbish everybody else is about his work. But it's him returning to what we like about his work overall. It's a really, really fun film that just, bravo, man. Welcome back, M. Night Shyamalan. We have missed you so much, and you made an incredible movie, and who would have guessed that you would have had to do it with Blumhouse Studios, of all companies, to do it. But yeah, hey, it worked. It's an incredible film. Can't recommend it enough. If you haven't seen The Visit, check it out, man. See the return of a legendary figure in M. Night Shyamalan, in true form, too. But, I digress. Let's go ahead and move on to our next movie, which is 90 Minutes in Heaven.
Hayden Christensen, Kate Bosworth.
Through his plan, I discovered my purpose is to tell you. God still answers prayers. God still performs miracles. Heaven is real.
90 Minutes in Heaven, rated PG-13, in theaters September 11th.
So you can basically say that this is exactly what happened after Return of the Jedi. You know, Darth Vader somehow his subconscious went into our world and became this minister, and he ends up with Lois Lane from Superman Returns. So, but in this movie, Hayden Christensen plays a Baptist minister who was involved in a horrific car crash, pronounced dead at the scene, and covered by a tarp. 90 minutes later, having been brought to the hospital, he returns to life and claims to have seen heaven and visited with deceased relatives while there. So I'll give it this. It's not one of these religious Christian movies that I have never really seen and don't really plan on ever seeing, but I'll give it this. This is at least sounds much more intriguing than the last movie where Hayden Christensen was dead for a long time and then he comes back to life in Awake, which was a movie that had a good premise to it, but a terrible twist ending on it. This one obviously goes for what obviously goes for what you think it's going to go for. It's a movie that isn't going to go to those insane levels here, but it's an interesting idea overall. I like the idea of a movie where, you know, you've been pronounced dead, you've been dead for a little bit, and then you come back and you tell people about, you know, what you've seen. I mean, a near-death experience, honestly, but yeah, I mean, it's a movie where it has some intriguing idea to it that might make for a compelling movie overall. But then again, this is a film that was not a critically successful movie. But then again, most Christian movies aren't really that successful in general. Even though the last couple from Angel Studios, the last couple of years, have actually done very well critically. Like there was that Kevin James one that came out recently, Solo Mio, which actually got some really good reviews. And I'm actually kind of tempted to check that one out one day. And then a couple of the animated movies they've done. So maybe they are getting better as they go along. But yeah, as far as this one goes, I really don't know too much about it overall, but the premise is intriguing enough that makes me kind of curious about it. I'm probably never going to watch it, but if there was one of these movies I'd want to watch just for curiosity's sake, it'd probably be this one. I like the concept of it. I do like the actors involved in it. You know, they have not just Christensen and Kate Bosworth, but Fred Thompson, Dwight Yoakam, Marshall Bell, Rhoda Griffiths, Michael Smith, Hudson Meek. So directed by the guy who did The Astronaut Farmer. So there might be something there, you know, but again, it's not something I'm going to rush out to see anytime soon, but I mean, it could be good. So let's go ahead and move on to the last movie we have here, and that's Jason Sudeikis and Alison Brie starring in the romantic comedy Sleeping with Other People.
That creepy guy.
So if you have a Annie Edison from Community and Ted Lasso fan fiction that you've been dying to see in movie form, here it is right here. You got a good-natured womanizer played by Sudeikis and a serial cheater played by Alison Brie forming a platonic relationship that helps reform them in ways while a mutual attraction sets in. So yeah, it's a very standard romantic comedy, kind of done to death before, but what does make it work are the leads in this movie. Alison Brie and Jason Sudeikis are always going to be terrific actors, even in stuff where they're not the best. I mean, I just talked about Get Hard a couple of weeks ago, which is a terrible movie where it even took somebody like Alison Brie and made her just ungodly awful to sit through. I mean, it wasn't her fault. It was just the movie that she was in was a poorly written movie. It was a badly written film. But you know, here's a movie like this that shows that, hey, this woman can be good. She can be very entertaining. And you do buy her chemistry with Jason Sudeikis. There's also a great cast. It also includes Catherine Waterston from Inherent Vice, Adam Scott, Jason Mantzoukas, Andrea Savage, Natasha Lyonne, Adam Brody, Amanda Peet, Mark Blucas, Margareta Liviera, Billy Eichner, Daniel Pineda. A lot of names you recognize here. And yeah, the movie has been done to death before, and like I said, it is a very formulaic romantic comedy, but I always say, a good romantic comedy, even if it's formulaic, can still work if your two leads are making it work, and the two leads in here definitely make it work. And also helps you have somebody like Leslie Headland, whose last movie was Bachelorette, which I thought was much better than actually Bridesmaids was, but that was the better Bridesmaids movie to me, that film. So you got her directing this movie, and even if it is generic overall, like I said, if the leads are good, the film can work as a whole. And it does work here in general. It is a fun film. It's a really good romantic comedy. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. I recommend it. Probably a lot of people haven't heard about it, but excuse me. Probably not a lot of people have heard about it, but it is definitely one I would highly recommend checking out. Sleeping with Other People. Watch this. Don't do it in real life. What the hell was that look I gave you guys? I apologize for that. Anyway, I gotta get out of here. That's gonna wrap this episode of Time About the Movies up. Next time we meet, we've got a pretty good slate of movies overall to take a look at. We'll take a look at Maze Runner, The Scorched Trials, which is, of course, the sequel to the runaway hit last year, The Maze Runner. We'll take a look at Johnny Depp starring in the crime thriller Black Mass. We'll take a look at a return to form for another director. We had a visit this past week with M. Night Shyamalan. And next time we'll take a look at Balthazar Koramahu's Everest, which kind of turned his career around because he was making some pretty bad movies. Contraband, Two Guns. This is probably the first movie of his I really, really enjoyed, and we'll talk about that one. We'll also talk about Captive. We'll talk about Sicario, which I just saw got a limited release this weekend from Denis Villeneuve. And then we'll also take a look at, where is the last one here? Here it is, Cooties. The zombie comedy, but a different kind of zombie comedy, but actually one of several different zombie comedies coming out this fall, but we'll take a look at all those movies here. I think that's 6 in total, 6 or 7. We'll take a look at them all coming up tomorrow on the show, so I hope you will join me for that. With all that said, though, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. With all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.